Right, this is chapter 12 and this is called Survival. The days and weeks turned into the cold winter months and I felt as if my body was going to break. White steam came out of my mouth as I spoke. I blew on my fingers to try and warm them, but nothing could get rid of the tight, stiff feeling deep inside me. When we first arrived in England, I thought it was cold, but now I knew what coldness really was. Then there was an orange-gold look about the trees, but now it was freezing and the trees had lost their leaves, and so they stood naked like skeletons, exposing every limb. I wish the cold grey misty mornings would go away, for I longed to see the warm sun and feel the heat of it on my back penetrating into my soul. The wintry weather made me feel depressed. The night seemed to start off so early, even before the end of the afternoon. And when we came out of school, it was already dark. Once we came out and it seemed as if the world had disappeared under a thick grey blanket. I couldn't see anything except for fuzzy, distorted lights coming at me from out of the distance. People had started to appear from nowhere and then disappear again. As I stumbled forward, I squinted my eyes in an effort to see more clearly, but it made no difference. The thick greyness was impenetrable. There was a hushed, mysterious feel to the atmosphere. Even the usual traffic noise was muted as vehicles slowly crawled along the roads, creeping in and out of vision. The cold, sooty air seeped into my lungs and made me cough. It tasted horrible. Later on the radio, I heard someone saying that it was one of the foggiest days London had ever seen. In my short time in England, I'd experienced all kinds of unpleasant weather. Cold winds that felt as if they would tear the skin off my face, freezing rain, not the sort that I felt like dancing in, and days upon days without any sunlight. I could never be sure what the weather would be like, and I began to understand why the English talked about the weather. There was so much of it. There was, however, one kind of weather that made me feel happy, even though it was cold. I so clearly remember the first time I experienced the thrill of it. On a cold morning, as I huddled under my thick blanket, the smell of the paraffin lamp still lingering in the air, I was awakened by a stillness, an eerie quietness. A strong, clear light shone through the curtains, not the usual murky greyness, but a magical light. I sensed something was different about this day as I slowly went to the window. I lifted up the curtains and wiped the condensation off the pane. Then I saw it. A pure white blanket that dazzled me. It was a whiteness I'd never seen before, and everything was covered in it. I gasped with wonderment. The landscape looked so beautiful, it took my breath away. Surprisingly, I didn't feel cold. The beauty had warmed me. I had fallen in love with snow. We spent the rest of the day watching from the windows. Marmee didn't send us to school because it was snowing, but she got told off by the headmistress, who told her that the next time we had to come to school in the snow, it wouldn't hurt us, we were going to survive. By the time spring came, my feelings of uncertainty about my new homeland were beginning to thaw. Happier feelings began to blossom in my mind. Perhaps it was because suddenly everything in the land started to come alive again. The yellow daffodils puffed out and waved like flags. Cherry blossom decked the bare branches in pink garlands. I hoped that suddenly someone's feelings would open up towards me and blossom too. I hated the rejection I'd experienced so far. Even going shopping was an ordeal. Sandra and I would stand at the counter waiting to be served, but would be ignored, treated as though we were invisible, and that really hurt. Other West Indian children in my school had experienced the same hostility. We were treated without any respect, and we were bundled together as coming from the same place. Our individual identity was never acknowledged. We come from different islands: Jamaica, Barbados, Grenada, St. Kitts, Dominica and Antigua, and spoke with different accents. We were brought up with different cultures, different music. Each island in the Caribbean was as different as France is from Finland, as Spain is from Sweden. Even we had to learn to understand each other. I couldn't really understand why English people knew nothing about our different countries while we knew so much about theirs. They just didn't seem to want to know. I always found it exciting when I met someone from a different country, as it expanded my knowledge of the world. I too was coming into contact with Jews, Italians, Africans, West Indians from other islands, but I didn't treat them as if they were worthless beings with no feelings. So many British people thought we'd come from a land of coconuts and palm trees, huts and beaches, not realising that our buildings, history and food had strong European influences. And I'm just going to show you this picture here. There you go. In fact, we probably knew more about British history and culture than most of them. My uncle, like so many other West Indians, had fought and died for Britain in the Second World War. Hundreds of West Indians had joined the army and the air force and had fought to protect Britain, to make her a safe place to live. Little did that generation of West Indians know that their gallant action was to go unrecognised and forgotten, and that many of their descendants would have to go through a gruelling survival course on arrival in Britain and be made to feel unwelcome and unwanted in the celebrated motherland. I came to England feeling special, like a princess, but I was made to feel like a scavenger begging for a piece of what I thought was mine. I'd been told that I was a part of the British Empire. Was that a lie? My dreams and visions had been shattered, but I was in England now, and there was no turning back. I had to learn to survive. There's another little illustration there. And I just wanted you to think, actually, in this book about the wonderful description of setting and atmosphere, and that's something that we've talked a lot about in our English lessons. So next time I read, in the chapters, just listen to those setting descriptions, because they're really, really magical. I'll catch up with you for the next chapter soon. Bye.